Welcome back everyone. Welcome to the first proper regular film review for a while actually. Today we're doing the found footage movie from 2020 starring Joe Keery, Spree. Spree is really good. It's one of my favourite horror movies from the past couple of years, and it's 100% my favourite found footage movie. It follows a streamer called Kurt's World who becomes so obsessed with growing online that he resorts to murdering people on stream, using his job as a driver of an Uber-like app called Spree. What I love about this movie is that it's so different from other found footage movies. Not only is it fairly comedic, but it's also just way more original. A lot of found footage movies feel very similar to me. Just, people holding cameras, running around, bed sheets getting pulled off beds. And while the realism does work a lot of the time, by now I think it's a little overdone. However, Spree uses its setup in a very creative way. It's all filmed from the perspective of a live stream in a car, and by doing this we get all this cool lighting and we can actually see things properly most of the time. It's also just a really creative setup. I've never seen another horror movie replicate things like a desire to grow on social media and how that can have a harmful effect on people who are clearly not very mentally well. So we open on a bit of a rundown of Kurt's career as a YouTuber and streamer, struggling to grow online. We also learn that he has a bit of a rival in the form of this kid who he used to babysit, who's a way bigger influence than him. And if you think he looks familiar, maybe this clip will jog your memory.
What up? I'm Jared, I'm 19, and I never fucking learned how to read.
So we learn that Kurt has a new plan to grow. Using his job as a pickup driver for the app Spree, he's going to stream himself going on a killing spree. So he loads his car with cameras and poisoned water bottles. And he picks up his first victim, who is in fact, you guessed it, a racist. A little later he drinks some water out of the water bottles and bing bang bong, he is in fact dead. He then picks up generic asshole number 2 and also picks up a pretty okay person called Jesse, who's a stand-up comedian. This guy, whose actual name is Mario, is being a general dickhead, and Kurt is a little too on the nose about being excited about meeting someone fairly sizably famous. So she films Mario for being a perv and leaves. Mario then leaves to go and take a pee. Gee man, you're not even trying to go and find a bush or something? And Kurt drives over him while blasting the Gummy Bear song out of his speakers. So we cut to Bobby, Kurt's social media rival, and we see what kind of content he produces, which is pranking the homeless. Hey, at least it's better than being something stupid like a horror YouTuber or something. So later he picks up 3 people who he takes to a dump site. 2 of them stick their heads out of the sunroof, but get stuck there and attacked by what look to be wild dogs. Meanwhile, the other one is killed by a frickin' drill. So Kurt decides his next victim will be Bobby, as he was hating on stream in chat. When Kurt arrives, Bobby is also streaming. So after he kills him, he takes his phone and starts talking to Bobby's audience, in actually quite a well done scene. So he picks up his dad to give him a ride, who's played by frickin' David Arquette. Wow, I was not expecting to see you here. I feel like I'm gonna scream. Heh, get it? 'Cause he was Dewey in Scream. So they go over to see a famous DJ for some reason, and she agrees to give him a shout out if he gives her a free ride. But before she can do so, when Kurt isn't looking, she drinks the poisoned water. And then he has to cover his ass when the police investigate him. And for some fucking reason, the DJ isn't dead, so she takes out a gun which she found before and shoots one of the cops? Excuse me? I mean, I guess maybe she was aiming for Kurt, but I mean, come on, why did she do that? That's a pretty stupid scene if you ask me. So we cut back to Jessie, the comedian from earlier, and she's doing a live show. And we see that in the audience is Kurt. She begins talking about Kurt on stage and her experience with Spree, and how he was acting pretty pathetic and it's sad how desperate he was. And he almost seems a little touched after she starts talking about how happiness isn't about fame. After he catches a ride through a different ride-sharing app, we learn that his killing spree is actually known to the public, which really makes us wonder how he hasn't been caught yet, but whatever, I guess. I think the reason behind this is to show how audiences will absorb content without questioning or thinking things through, which is something which was also explored in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies just last year, but I don't think that film did it in a very good way. So he kills the driver and takes his position, in which he then picks up Jessie. He tells her that he's going to take her to her house, but then she starts fighting back. She manages to get into the position of her driving and tries to run over Kurt, but accidentally drives into the wall of his house. But huzzah, Dewey from Scream comes to the rescue, who appears to be doing heroin? And also Kurt's mum's body is found. It is then revealed that Kurt killed her earlier on in the film, and so Kurt then kills his dad. Jesse then drives over Kurt, eventually killing him with his own phone. Ironic. And that's about it. I have one or two little nitpicks about this movie, but overall it's just really, really solid. I think it's a pretty good social commentary, it's shot in a really interesting way, it's a bit of a breath of fresh air for found footage, the acting is pretty charming, I gotta say, and it's overall just a fun time. And with that, goodbye.